Welcome back to the Pageant Project, everyone. My next guest is the newly crowned Miss Ohio Teen Volunteer, Chloe Campbell. Chloe, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Have your feet touched the ground again yet, or are you still floating on cloud nine?
Honestly, this has been a whole surreal experience. Like everything about it is not like I don't feel real. I still don't feel real yet. Like it doesn't like the sash and the crown. It doesn't feel like it's mine.
So, when the competition, when were you crowned? Was it like 3 days ago?
Yeah, it was this Saturday, like this past Saturday.
Okay, so why don't you run us through what life has been like since last Saturday? Because I can only imagine. But you're newly crowned, 3 4 days. What has that been like?
Honestly, it's been a crazy 3 4 days. Honestly, Saturday I was crowned, which was an unbelievable experience. There was so many great girls out there, so many amazing friendships I made, and I had from the past. So fun just to meet new people. Also, the whole crowning experience. It's honestly such a blur because of how nervous I was, but also just excited and blessed I felt in that moment. But after that, we took a lot of pictures on the stage because who doesn't want a picture of that? Like an amazing moment. But then we had a photo shoot around 2 in the morning at the hotel room that we were sponsored by. And that honestly, thank she is an amazing makeup artist, hair, photographer. Everything came out so good, even though it was like the crack of dawn. Like honestly, it was insane. Um, then I would think the next day we had brunch with Miss America volunteer. That was super fun. I learned a lot from her. She's also a dancer, like myself. So it was nice to hear about her talent and how her talent came to be. Also, just like her sharing tips about how her experience with pageants and stuff like that. So that was nice. And then we had brunch with Miss Renee, Miss Grace, and that was a lot of fun too. Just getting to know them and also them to us. And then the next day we had me and Brittany were both on Fox 2028, and we also went to the iHeart radio in Columbus and got to record a little interview on there.
Wow. Okay. So have you had a chance to sleep yet?
All, my sleep and my eating schedule has been a little off. I can't even lie, but it's all for a good cause. It's all fun, so I'm okay with it.
Fair enough. I can certainly understand. It sounds exciting. I mean, that 2 a.m. photo shoot, that sounds a bit rough. It's I've been up at 2 a.m. recently. I don't think I'd be photo shoot ready normally at 2 in the morning because then you have to take the well, you're supposed to take the makeup off before you go to bed. So that would, and you probably need to be up at the crack of dawn the next day. So that sounds a bit rough, but I guess you signed up for it, so
Yeah.
you've only got yourself to blame. Why don't you tell us how you got into pageants? I don't know if this was your first pageant, your 10th pageant, but how did you get into pageantry to begin with?
Okay. Honestly, pageantry was something completely new for me. I was a dancer. Not was. I am a dancer. I've been a dancer my whole entire life. And so with Miss Judy Keys and my dance studio owner, um, Jerry Pinnell, they both are really good friends. And so Miss Judy has these invitations or like sign up sheets to Miss Jerry for Miss Jerry to hand it out and say like interested. I have these. You can do it. And I was like, that sounds fun. That sounds new. I would like to try it. So I signed up. I asked my mom. We signed up for that, and Miss Judy kind of took me under her wing because I know nothing about pageant at all. I had like at all. I had to get new shoes, new dresses, help me with everything, walks, all these things, just so I could be completely ready for the pageant. I went in that pageant completely blind, and other than the direction that Miss Judy has given me, and thought I was able to win that pageant. And one of the judges, they came up and was like, "You should try this pageant." And I was like, "The Miss Ohio Teen Volunteer pageant." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds really fun." Then Miss Renee, which that judge was Grace, one of the directors of the pageant, and she came up to me, said that, and I was like, that sounds really fun. Then Miss Renee reached out about it. I was like, that sounds really fun as well. And Bailey Joy, also the former Miss Ohio volunteer, also reached out to me about it, and I was like, that sounds really fun. So I went in, tried that. All Miss Judy Keith also helped me a lot with that, and again, yeah, I won that one. It was really fun. This is my second pageant, first state pageant. So yeah,
It sounds like you've caught the pageant bug. It
yeah.
sounds like you're well and truly hooked. Can you? Because obviously most people watching or listening to this wouldn't have been there in person. Can you walk us through what the pageant itself was like? What did you guys get up to? What parts were fun? What were your favorite, like your section? I mean, I imagine as a dancer, that talent was you probably enjoyed that quite a lot. But walk us through the weekend. What was it like?
Okay, so Friday was my first day of school, and so I was a little bit tired because I was like I just had school. I had to wake up at 6 in the morning, and I was a little foggy. But we had a rehearsal for
Yep.
the opening number and for just like walking through the patterns that we were given. We'd made some TikToks for a lot of fun, and we had pizza. We did like a nice little interview, kind of icebreaker, 2-in-1 kind of situation, and that was fun. And that's mostly what that Friday was like. Then Saturday was the day of the pageant. I personally woke up at like 5:40 in the morning, and that was because I had hair and makeup at my house, and they came, did my hair and makeup. Beautiful job, Miss Rain did my makeup, and Miss Tiffany did my hair. Beautiful job, gorgeous. And then I went into just the pageant itself. We went to the McCoy Center, which I love the McCoy Center. Honestly, I spent a lot of my time there at the McCoy Center with dance. Like I practically live there. Honestly, so that was a lot. It was fun just being in a place where I already felt comfortable, already going in, where I knew where everything was. I knew like if I needed to get somewhere quickly, how I can get there quickly. It was nice going into where I was comfortable. But we went in. First thing I had teens. We got ready our interview outfits. First thing interview for teens. We went in. And my interview, honestly, I did, after my interview, I did not think I would be where I am today. My interview was not the best. I'm not gonna lie. My interview was not the best, but I'm working on it, and I'm hopefully gonna get better at it. Um, After interview, we had teen talent rehearsal. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I We have teen talent rehearsal, and that was really fun because we all were like sitting watching each other's talents. And I personally, like you said, I'm a dancer, and I love dancing, love sharing my talent with others. It's like one of my favorite parts of pageants in general is just sharing that love for dance, sharing that love for being able to emote to an audience, like show emotion to the audience. So that was so fun. Also, the amazing talents that were out there. There was someone who speed painted Isabella. She speed painted. That was
Wow.
insane. Through like a cardinal and under a minute. It was gorgeous. We had a piano player. She phenomenal, phenomenal. Two of the dancers were from my studio. It was me and two other dancers. We danced together, and that was so fun. I just love watching them dance all the time. Brinley, love it. Gorgeous dancers, powerful dancers. Honestly, there were so many. I loved seeing that how many dancers there were. There were so many. Like going into my first pageants, I would think it was me and two other girls were the only dancers, and they were both from my studio. Me and two other girls were the only dancers, and everyone else sung. And so we all kind of felt like the odd ones out. But this one was very dance heavy, and I was like, oh, I love seeing how other people dance and how other people take emotion. Great. So that was a lot of fun. Then after team rehearsals, the dancers came in. Dancers were also from my studio. The dancers were in the opening number. Were also it was my studio was very very involved in this pageant, honestly. And dancers were also from my studio, and a lot of them they were so supportive. A lot of them stayed for the whole entire pageant. They were so supportive and so kind, and worked very well with a lot of the girls because not everyone's a dancer, so it's hard to maneuver around what's happening, but they worked very, very well with everyone, and they were so sweet and so kind to every single person. So I'm very proud of them for that. But after we did a dress rehearsal run through, then we had an hour and a half break, or an hour and 15-minute break, which is had to force myself to eat a bagel because I have this thing where if I get so focused on what I'm doing that I completely forget to eat. So I had to force myself to eat a bagel so I wouldn't pass out. But that was an amazing break, honestly, a much needed break because
Yeah.
it's been a long day. And then after the break, we had a quick little meeting, went into the show, and that show went by really fast. It At times it felt slow because my first pageant was just a teen pageant. There were no misses with in that pageant, so it was kind of slow at first, like having to wait, going to and then waiting for the misses. But they made it entertaining because we got to watch them, and it was beautiful and it was amazing. Each and every single one of them. So we went through. First thing we did was we did the opening number. So fun. We did the Lady Gaga. So fun with the dancers. I felt very connected to the opening number because my dance family was in it. Honestly, like my studio was a big giant family. So because my dance family was in it, I felt very grounded, very connected to that.
Yeah.
Fitness, fitness really fun. That was a Tate McRae, and as a dancer again, Tate McRae, an insane dancer. So that I channel my inner Tate McRae during my fitness walk. Then afterwards, talent again, my favorite part of the whole entire pageant world was showing talent. I love showing my talent each and every. If I could show my talent every single day, I probably would. I love doing it. And my talent's choreographed by Alex Solomon. Beautiful lyrical piece, and I love it so much. Like so much. Then afterwards, we went into evening gown. I honestly was so stressed about evening gown because my dress was a little long, and I thought I was gonna trip on it, but I didn't. Praise God. So that was that was one stressful one. And then after that, we went into like the awards and going into top three. They announced top three, and my heart was genuinely like I thought I was going to have a heart attack. My heart was beating so fast. We did our onstage questions, and Trinity and Brinley were amazing girls throughout, like genuinely true friends, kind of the world. And so we went into that. Then we went into awards, the actual awards ceremony, the part with like Miss Sunshine and People's Choice and all of that. I was blessed enough to win Miss Sunshine, which is one of my favorite awards that I actually did win. Was Miss Sunshine because I love being a lighthouse as much as possible and seeing that like knowing that people think that I brought like light into someone's day today that day genuinely made me so happy. Then I also won talent, which I was very very thankful for, and I give props to my choreographer and my studio for training me to be able to do that. And then I went. We did the top three. They announced second runner up, which was one of my closest friends, Brinley. Then they did first runner up, which was another friend that I found through this pageant, Trinity. And then they announced the winner, and I quite literally bawled because I did not think it was me at all. Like at all. I did not think it was me at all. After that interview, I was like, I called my mom and I was like, I'm just gonna have fun now because I'm pretty sure I just took myself out of the running with that interview. And it honestly wasn't that bad. It's just I'm a perfectionist and I want everything I do to be perfect, which is not possible. And I know that in the back of my head it's not possible, but I still try to do that and it, it doesn't normally end well. But I so it was a very the whole day it was a long day, but a fun
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how much you remember because a lot of people, especially you sound like you didn't have sleep before the pageant. You certainly didn't have sleep during the pageant. So most people it just goes by as a blur, particularly if you win, you just kind of almost black out. Um, I'm fascinated by the dance. It sounds like, and you said that you express yourself almost more through dance than, let's say, the spoken word. I'm sure your interview wasn't as bad as you thought it was. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here with me now. And yes, I'm sure you're perfectionist because dancers are almost always. I almost think like you can't be a dancer unless you're a perfectionist because it's like, oh, I got to point my toes. Who cares? That wouldn't really get you very far. But I didn't get to see your talent, obviously. So can you describe your talent? I know it doesn't do it justice talking about it, but describe your talent, but also how long does it take to come up with a dance talent? I mean, you mentioned that you met up with Lawrence and Miss Volunteer America, and she had an amazing dance piece on the national stage. And in fact, there were a lot of dancers on the national stage as well. So you must have heard a good talk about that. But what was your talent like? Describe it for us, and then how long does it take to come up with a talent that's ready for stage?
Okay, so my talent was a lyrical piece, like I said. It's called Can't Let Go by Jennifer Hudson from the smash hit like musical TV show. Honestly, I've never been a lyrical dancer that looks like a pretty angel, and I love those. I love those lyrical dancers to my core. They're gorgeous and they're beautiful, and everything about them is just breathtaking. But I've never been that type of dancer. I've always been the type of dancer that's a power dancer and takes the emotions that I personally feel and tries to portray that to the audience, the judges. And so I feel like that does a very good job with that. Very powerful, full with jumps, turns, motion, everything you could honestly think of is probably in that. My choreographer, she packs things, packs like everything she can think of, she throws in the solos. Every single thing, and she pieces it together beautifully to where everything is so smooth and connected, and nothing ever feels like choppy into the one move to the next. And that's what I really do love about her. Takes She knows what I'm good at, knows what my weaknesses and things to work on, and she makes things that I need to work on look better, and makes things that I'm good at right now showcase those things. And so I do love that about it. But this solo, honestly, it's emotion more than anything. It gives me the liberty. Another thing I love, the liberty to take things from the heart and slightly tweak the things that how I feel based on how I feel. Because I never the one thing always says, she goes, every single time you do solo, I know it's going to be different. So I'm just going to give you a blueprint for all of your emotional things, and you just do what you feel in that moment. The turns, the jumps, acro, all of that stays the same because I have to do that. But the things that are meant to connect the people in the audience and the judges, that changes every single time I do the dance. My nationals performance for dance is completely different from my first performance when I came out of the first time in the season. So that's been about and how long it takes. So this solo especially was my season, my solo from the season, from this past dance season, and we had to take it because it originally was, I think it was like 2:15, cut it down to a 90. So we did have to go to the studio and kind of take pieces because our own music, and it's take pieces and do all that stuff. But the one I performed for talent, that didn't take that long to create just because it was my last season solo. But the actual solo that we did last season, that probably took for like to be stage ready. I want to say like a month, just because it's 30 seconds and cleaning to on, just so that it's ready and presentable, so the human eye does gag at the side of my dancing. Honestly, so that does take a little while, but that This solo does have a very, very special part in my heart, honestly, just because this first solo I won nationals. I didn't win nationals, but I placed nationals at Showstoppers Nationals. I got third at Showstoppers Nationals, and I've never placed ever in my whole entire life. So this solo holds like such a special part in my heart. But that's pretty much it about so what I can think of in the moment. It's just something that that it shows the passion that I have for dance, but also the passion that I have for multiple things in my life.
What in terms of school? And I don't know this. I'm going to ask: are you planning on furthering your dance career after school? I mean, there are so many different opportunities. Whether you join a dance company or some dancers become cheerleaders and all this sort of thing. How far? Obviously, it's important to you. How far are you planning on taking your dance career, or is it too early to answer that?
No, it's not too early to answer. Dancers honestly have to think about their dance
Yeah.
career from the beginning of like high school, especially if they want to go into dance. For the longest time I was like, I'm going to be a dance team dancer. And look, my friends and I, we watch finals every single year at my best friend's house, who's also my duet partner. We watch the finals, the UDA finals, every single year, and we're blown away. But I personally, I think I want to dance until I physically cannot dance anymore. Like until it's like if I don't stop dancing, I can't walk. Like that's I want to dance until I physically cannot dance anymore. And so I my dream is Broadway. My dream is Broadway. My dream show is definitely MJ the Musical. I love Michael Jackson with my whole entire heart. That's what I grew up on. That's what my family was always blasting in the house in the car. It's some. It has like a special. I love Michael Jackson. I love my Michael Jackson dance. I had one last year. That one did really well at nationals. It won nationals with the highest scoring routine the whole entire week. It was a tap with criminal, and it was so much fun. It was based a lot off like the LSU hip hop from like 2 3 years ago, and it was one of the most fun dances I've ever done in my whole entire life. And so definitely something I'm gonna do as long with along with Hamilton, humongous Hamilton fan, humongous Hamilton fan. I could probably sing the whole entire show right now and wouldn't even bat an eye at it. But the dancing is so precise and so intentional that everything has like everything has an intention. Lin Manuel Miranda is a genius in the choreographers who made that are genius. Like there's nothing in that musical that doesn't have an intention, that doesn't have a story behind it, and that's what I really do love about that. So I do want to dance the rest of my life, but I also want to study dance as well in college because I love everything dance. It's genuinely my passion and the gift that I thank God for all my day.
We in psychology we talk about how important people's identity is for better or worse, and I think it's pretty clear to everyone who's going to watch or listen to this that you are a dancer to your core. I hope you can dance for a long time. I mean, I worked alongside some rhythmic gymnasts and things like that. They're rehearsing 6 hours a day on top of having school, and their knees, their back. I mean, don't talk about the feet, but I mean, pageant girls. I used, yeah, we don't. I've seen some photos of ballerinas after they take those shoes off, and I'm like, oh, that no, I wouldn't be able to walk. And yet they're on point, and everything looks graceful. I'm like, I don't know how you do what you do. I want to go into the Michael Jackson thing in a sec, but just can I ask you a really silly question, but opening number, okay? As a dancer, because I've talked to a lot of people who aren't dancers and they're really like quite afraid of the opening number dance and they're like, put me at the back, put me at the back. But for you, is like learning the opening number dance, is it like just you could do it in your sleep?
Honestly, I personally like Brinley and I were really good friends, and so we learned the opening number dance on the video in a break between our two dance. Like we were at the studio, of course, because whenever we're always at the studio, we're never not at the studio. So we were at the studio, and we were like, oh, we're on a break, probably do these dances because Miss Anjali, who choreographed the dancer section of the opening number, she was like, oh, I'm working down. I was like, that's a great idea. We should probably do that too. So I went up to the room, and that's how we learned it, honestly. And it wasn't, as a dancer, it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard. It wasn't something that I was shaking in my boots for. But honestly, it's like the memory of like which the hardest part for me was like which line do I come out of, which like wing do I come out of, because we came out of the wing different ways each time, and so that was definitely the hardest part. But once I got it, I got it. So I love opening number. It's one of my favorite things. Like seeing everyone dance and every feeling of dance, and just I like helping people out with dances is probably one of my favorite parts. That's how I build a lot of like my connections through like helping out with dances, helping out with like the zippers and stuff. I love to help the other people, the other contestants, the other girls.
I don't know how you managed to learn that off like a video, you know. And I've sat in some dance rehearsals at pageants before, and you can see the people who just get it, and they're sitting down and they're like, "Yep, once," and they've got it. And then the rest, you know, oh, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're like 5 left feet all at the same time. Let me just ask you this, because I started playing the violin when I was 2, classically trained. And so when you're learning things like a Mozart or a Brahms, you have to be technically very accurate, right? But then there's this thing with, and I like the showy pieces because it gives you a chance to show what you can do, right? But they say that with the simpler pieces, like with the slower pieces, the ones that are easier to play, it's actually easier to see how good you really are, because it's very easy for everyone to be very showy. But it's the simple things that, and if you can see someone who's really good at what they do, see how they do the simple things, that's how you can really tell how good someone is. And I'm just curious, is it the same with dance? Does it really come down to how well you can do the simple things?
Honestly, the simple things are the hardest. Like
Right.
it says, I want you to hold an 8 count balance of a passe. That's harder than doing like a 540, which is practically a ninja move in my brain. It's
40.
a 540. The easiest way for me to explain it, kind of laying like this in the sky. So like if your legs are this way, your head is this way. For me personally, I'm a righty, so my left leg swings over, and you land on that left leg like a jump. So you'll turn down, you'll jump up, and that left leg will swing over, and you'll land on it. That so that took me a while to get. That was also like that was a trial and error. It was like throw yourself and hope for the best. Honestly, that's how I learned it. At least there's definitely a better way to learn things, but that's how I learned it. Was throw yourself and just hope for the best. But honestly, yes, the simple things are where you do see the fine lines in like technique. The dances like that, you have to find the for like the opening number. Very very simple for me, honestly. But it's how can I make something
Yeah,
so for me look entertaining for others?
exactly.
And so that's the hardest part, honestly, of like the simple things in dance. Like my princess was also a phenomenal dancer. Phen- she's better than me. She is. I will stand by that. She is better than, and by the time she's my age, she should be on Broadway. She is insane, absolutely insane. But she was like, "This is so easy," and I was like, "Yes," but now you have to make it look good, make it look like it's not easy, make it look like it's something entertaining. She's like, "Okay, that's what I'll do," but it's something that when you have a simple dance, it's how can I make this look entertaining to an audience? How can I make this look entertaining to the judge? Because I don't want to look like I'm bored because I
Yeah.
find this simple.
Let me ask you, so you described this 540 thing and that you just learned it by trial and error. If I was going to try and do that, it wouldn't be no trial and error. It would just be error to begin with. I can't even understand what you're describing, honestly. But I interviewed a gymnast in South Carolina once. She was a competitive state level gymnast. And she was saying that, I don't know if you remember Simone Biles at one stage, like she lost that, like, was it aerial awareness or something like that? And I don't like being upside down. I certainly don't like being upside down in the air. Not that it happens very often, but describe to me fear, because as a dancer, like what you're describing to me sounds really scary. And I can only imagine, like, if you were a gymnast and you were upside down, if you land incorrectly, like on your head, that's also scary. But how important is that? I mean, do you have any fear when it comes to learning, like a 540? Like, oh, what happens if I land the wrong way? Is there any fear of, like, if I screw it up, I'm going to be embarrassed? Or do you just throw yourself into it, like, whatever happens, happens?
My like I was saying earlier, my dance studio is very much a big family, so I never really suffer with like the embarrassment side. Like
Right.
we're all throwing ourselves, landing on our flat on our backs, landing on our stomachs, just hoping that we don't hurt ourselves. So it's like that we're never like worried about the embarrassment side. We all go to dance, we all sweaty, we all look absolutely insane all the time. But speaking for myself at least, I hair going every which way. It's a whole thing. But so it's never embarrassment side. I'm also a cheerleader, so tumbling is a big thing that we work on.
Yeah.
Tumbling on harder for me to get over the mental block than a dance move is. The 540, I have, and also like my teachers at the studio, like my coaches and teachers at the studio, they want they want they're like on your side. They're like,
Yeah.
I know you can do it. I know like it's your mental thing. Like
Yeah.
they so many tell that they're like, tell me that. They're like, I know like you can do this. I've seen you do crazy things, so I know you can do this. So just try it. Just go for it. And that's a lot of times that's it eases the fear because someone telling you that like you can't do this, like you're fully capable of doing something like that. ease- But I will say tumbling I am more scared of tumbling than I am of trying a new dance skill. I It took me like a year and a half to get my back tuck, and I still have only done it at the studio because
Right.
I'm the studios where I honestly that's my second. I spend more time at the studio than I do my own in my house. Like I my house honestly on a normal day with cheer season and dance season and school is quite literally the only time I go to my house is eat, change, and sleep. That is it. I spend more time outside of my friends all the time who just at school they're like you're never in your own home. You're never in your own home ever. Like I'm not. I don't have time. I never I do so many things that honestly I hate the feeling of not being busy. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't like sitting around for too long. It makes me feel uncomfortable. like
I can understand that. I can see that, but I think that that perfectly describes dances. It very often begins. I don't know if this is the case for you, but it begins when you're a young child because you literally can't sit still, and so your parent goes, "I'm sick of you. Just go and do this." And so do the cheerleading, do the dancing, do all of it because when you come home, you're just a pain, and we can't deal with you. So I think it's very often. I mean, I was diagnosed with like ADHD last year. It's almost like, oh, you got ADHD. Go do something. Go dancing, so we don't have to put up with you. Okay, I want to come back to the Michael Jackson thing because I've been writing a book which I'm releasing right now, a beginner's guide to pageantry, and I said, and I was talking about the talent section, and I hadn't seen a talent section until I went to see Miss Volunteer America like a couple of months ago in Tennessee, but it was interesting to me because, as I said, I'm a classical violinist, and there are things you can do that are technically really demanding, and you talked about this before, but it's a connection with the audience that's more important when it comes to, I guess, any performance. And so I was thinking, if I was going to perform talent, I wouldn't do a classical piece. Given that I was in the South, I'd probably do something like Devil Went Down to Georgia, like a country fiddle piece, because I think I get more of a reaction. And I was thinking it's the same with dance, because you could do a 540, you could do a pirouette, and people go, wow, that's really hard, that's cool, and, polite clap. But when you do something like a moonwalk, right? I mean, even if you're not a dancer, there's something about seeing, like, there's all these TikToks of people doing moonwalks, like in the middle of the road, and doing the whole lean, that lean thing, which I don't know how you do unless you have that thing,
the
the thing. Yeah. So when it comes to, I mean, first off, how is your moonwalk? I have to ask, if you're a Michael Jackson fan, can you moonwalk?
Please do. I have worked on a moonwalk forever, so I can moonwalk. I do it in one of my dances this year. It's for our dances, Blame on the Boogie, our tap dance. My tap teacher is really into Michael Jackson recently. So we're doing the Jackson playing on the boogie. I get to moonwalk off at the end, and I'm really excited about that. But yes, I can moonwalk. Yes, I can. But like you were saying, I do think that it's more important on how you can connect with other people.
Yeah.
Dance, for a lot of people, don't grow up in the dance world. It's very confusing. It's very when you don't grow up in the dance world, it's you kind of get lost in
Yeah.
what's happening. If you like, yes, like you said, pirouettes, they look cool, but you get like you don't understand like how
Yeah.
hard it took, how long it took to get to that stage in that pirouette. And so I feel like there's a big you need to be able to emote, like portray emotion to the audience. I feel like it's a big thing, especially in pageants. Like not every judge is a dancer. There's judges who are dancers who
Yeah.
will see like great technique,
Yeah.
but not every judge is a dancer. And so you want to be able to keep the people who aren't dancers
Exactly.
entertained and see a storyline throughout your piece, not just something that you can't really find if you're not a dancer.
I need a video of you doing the moonwalk. I don't think I've ever interviewed someone. Maybe I have, and I just never asked. But I don't. Is the moonwalk, from your experience, is that like the move that will connect with ordinary people the most? Because again, like you see TikToks and things, and people on TikTok aren't necessarily dancers, but they'll see something like the moonwalk and they'll watch it. I'll watch it even though I'm not a dancer. But to me, it's like a whole emotional, it's not just a dance move. It symbolizes a lot of other things. So from your experience, like what's the one, two, or three dance moves that if you wanted to connect with an ordinary person, you would do that move?
Honestly, any type of groove. You could do like a little like thing like this, and people will go crazy. It's just because you see so many things. It's like, oh, I can do 14 turns, which is absolutely insane. I know people who can do 14 turns, and I just look at them in complete awe. But to an ordinary person, it's like, oh, she can spin.
Yeah.
That's my friends at school. They're like, oh, she just spins a lot. So it's like if you can have a nice little groove and you incorporate that into your dance. It's people go crazy because it's like, oh, I know that. Like I've done that before,
Yeah.
and that's fun, and that fits the music.
Yeah.
The moonwalk is another one. I love the moonwalk. I haven't done it a lot. This is my first. This is my first dance that I get to do it in. Have not done it a lot, but I'm really excited because like Michael Jackson is in my brain. He's an icon. Like he is the king of pop. He
Yeah.
changed the game for so many artists that when you
Yeah.
see the moonwalk, you associate it with him, and so
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, Michael Jackson, amazing performer, amazing dancer. This girl can do it. This girl can do it." So
Yeah.
it correlates like, "Oh, this is an amazing because she can do this," and so it's something in the switches something in your brain
Yeah.
because it's like I personally like I love when I see someone do a beautiful extension. It's gorgeous, but when someone's able to like just do a passionate read. Or personally, one of my favorites is just like a stare, like just standing there with like a full intention of just passion and full emotion. That like if you can portray that feeling of say like my soul is about like it's a can't let go. It's about letting go of something,
Yeah.
trying trying to let go of something that's in your past. And it's really hard to shy away from that. And so like I have a moment like that where I just stand and I look at the audience. It's like after a whole section where I just like went crazy and like I'm doing all these insane things and then like I went to and I stomp and stand and show like the vulnerability that's in
Yeah.
that and that's what so those three are definitely like the top things that I love doing in a dance to show to connect to an audience, honestly.
Yeah. If that whole standing and staring thing sounds quite confronting, it sounds quite uncomfortable. It's almost like when you have an awkward pause in a conversation and you just have to stop but that silence can actually be very powerful because we're so used to movement, 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 and so like the lack of movement suddenly it makes people stand up and take notice. The whole Michael Jackson thing, I could talk to you for hours because if you want, I come up with every now and then YouTube will suggest like Michael Jackson like first ever moonwalk, and of course he's performing in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and then you see it on stage, but it's not what's on stage; it's you hear the audience reaction, and that's what makes my hair stand on end. It's like they're so into it, and then when he became famous for it, like iconic for it, anytime he would do that the audience would just go crazy. And I think it's one of like the best examples of how dance can connect to an ordinary person, someone who can't do, the 16 spins. I mean, I can't do one spin, so I don't know how you do 16. I just be vomiting everywhere. But Chloe, we need to move towards the close because I've got to interview your miss after you, and I don't want to keep her hanging. So we'll go towards the final 10 questions. But just before we do that, is there anyone that you want to give a quick shout out to for supporting you along your journey?
My parents, like my family, not even just my parents, like my whole entire family. I'm blessed enough to have a family that's rooted in God that honestly has helped me with my relationship with God. Which is another shout I want to give out to God. Honestly, that's the only reason I'm here today. But my family is such like a blessing in my heart. They're supportive in anything I like. I was a dancer my whole life, and they supported me through that. And I was like, oh, let's try pageants. Like, okay, let's go, let's try them. It's like they always want me to find what I love and find what I'm passionate for and find what I want to keep
Yeah.
doing so that I know when I go into the real world parts of who I am. They're also like that with my little sister. I have a little sister. She's just her freshman year um, in high school, which is really scary. But she started with horses, and they're like, okay, fully into horses, let's go. And then she's like, I want to try marching band, and so now they're fully supportive of that. And it's not just my parents, it's like my whole family, my aunts, my uncles. Like my mom was going and like sending the Fox 28 news interview to everyone, and they're like,
Yeah.
amazing, that's amazing. Like I have a very supportive family. Also my dance family, very, again, another very supportive family. And as well as I love those girls forever and always. And so, I would say the family aspects, everything that I find family, I find family everywhere I go, and they're always supportive for me. That's a big shout out. And then again, shout out to God, my Lord, my Savior. I would not be here without Him today. So those are definitely my shout outs.
Love it. I think those are priorities that are in the right order. It doesn't matter what you achieve if you've got no one to share it with. And we all need a bit of help at times. We can't do it ourselves. All right, we got to zip through these final 10. Okay, so these is like your weird questions. Number one, what is your favorite word?
I actually think about this all the time. If you ask any of my friends, I say this all the time, and they're like, Why do you think about these things?" Discombobulated is my favorite word. I love that word so much. It's just like it's so fun to say, like discombobulated.
Number two, what is your least favorite word?
I hate the word moist. It leaves like a. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Okay, I need to, everyone who says moist, because that's really common, I then need to ask you, how do you describe a delicious chocolate cake? Because you don't say it's wet.
No, I just say it's good. I can't. I hate
Okay.
that.
You, you're literally, you're like squirming in your chair. You can't even bring yourself to say that it's your least favorite word. All right, number three, in life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
I would say dance, of course. Love dance, and any conversation when anyone talks about God with me. I love sharing my connection with the Lord and helping other people find their connection with the Lord. So anything like that.
What turns you off?
Probably when people are rude. I don't like rude people. Also people who chew their mouth open. I can't stand that. It's like it messes with my ears. I can't stand it. But rude people, like there's no need to be rude to someone who hasn't done anything to you, especially when this whole entire, like, a lot of the times when rude things happening to people, no one has done anything to them, and they're just rude for no apparent reason. So that's one of my things that
What sound or noise do you love?
I love. I love the sound of music or like acrylic nails, like on any like hard surface, like a water bottle, a table. Those are definitely. But music's a lot. It's a big part of what I grew up on. My parents met in the choir, in the church choir, so like it's a big part of what I grow up on is music.
What sound or noise do you hate?
People chewing with their mouth open. That that irks me. I I can't do it. It's just like my aunt was always because I when I was little I used to chew with my mouth open, and my aunt was always say stop doing that, and so now when I hear it, it just bothers me.
If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Invisibility, because I my sister's a really big superhero fan, so we watched Fantastic Four. That's my favorite Marvel like movie, and my favorite Marvel.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain the word, but get that
yeah,
one, and I love I love Sue Storm, strong woman, and having that's what I connect invisibility with is like the ability to just be a strong woman and help those out. Like she can turn herself invisible, but also multiple like things around her invisible to help out the family,
yeah.
her family. So like I would say invisibility is the best for me.
What job would you most like to attempt?
Attempt. I personally want to be a professional dancer, but attempt if I could have any job. I really want to work at like a ice cream shop. There's this game called Papa's Freezer, and I think that'd be so fun just to like have like a live version of that game.
Do you know how you can tell if someone works at an ice cream shop? There's a very easy way to tell.
How?
One arm is a lot bigger than the other because you
Oh,
have to you have to dig in, and if it's really hard, there's a lot of forearm strength. So you'll see one. I have this because I play tennis. You'll see one forearm is bigger than the other. They're either a tennis or like a racket player, or they've been working in an ice cream shop. That's how you can tell.
good. That's a good way to tell that. I never thought about that.
I heard about it the other day. It's like, huh, that's interesting. It's completely useless information, but it's
No,
interesting. What
in some context, some context, you know, I could get a question about
I'm sure will come up maybe in a pageant interview at some time. What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
probably like zookeeping. I don't want to clean after animals. That seems horrible. So probably zookeeping. I love animals. I would love to like feed the animals, but not clean after the animals.
Yeah, I think we can understand that one. Final question: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
I personally believe that heaven does exist, and the first thing is like it's in the Bible. Well done, my good and faithful servant. So that's one I would always want to hear. Just that, but also just like hearing, "I love you." Like that's something I
Yeah.
know. Soul that happened that is true, but also just like hearing that in face to face, God saying, "I love you." But also, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's also something I just want to hear.
Chloe, it's been a blast. I can't wait to see you moonwalk across a stage somewhere. I need to see this. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your time, and congratulations again on your title.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this time.
Keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang out with the audience. But thanks to everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now.